And one more time, what kind of liners are these?
Casket liners.
These are casket liners.
That's what the man said.
That's what the man told us. And we're told that there are about, well, there were about 500,000 out here.
Later, as I went back to my home office, I spoke of it there, and of course, people usually don't want to hear too much about this kind of thing. So it's never been mentioned, publicly, except just here and there, because most, like I said, the reaction I got, people didn't want to know about it, the few people that I spoke to, and so I just dropped it. And till I went to a luncheon, a fundraiser for Representative Saxby Chambliss. He was running for his second term for the U.S. House of Representatives. And it was a crowd, probably 100, maybe 150. It was congressmen, senators, state senators, and mayors. There was one table, we probably had 2 3-star generals and a couple of 1-star with their spouses. So it was a real high-powered meeting. But the keynote speaker was a congressman, and I don't remember his name. He'd just been in the House for a long time, and he was the chairman of the Armed Services Committee. And so he just spoke in behalf of Representative Chambliss and the importance of having him on board to be reelected due to our threats. But it had to do with the nuclear devices that was missing from the old Soviet Union and that had gotten into terrorist hands, and it was, the emphasis was on the critical state that we face in this country, and he said we could lose tens of millions of people in the next decade, and he used those terms, due to a nuclear strike on U.S. soil. And I was sitting there, and it became very clear to me that that could very well explain why just weeks, could be 2 to 3 weeks prior to that meeting, that I had stumbled upon these, at that time, 125,000 disposable liners or caskets or coffins or whatever that could be termed as in that soybean field in Madison, Georgia.
Did you catch what he said, friends? At this high-powered meeting, it was in Perry, Georgia, near Robins Air Force Base, the largest employer in the state of Georgia, Robins Air Force Base. The chairman of the Armed Services Committee was the keynote speaker. The chairman of the Armed Services Committee, whoever that may be, used to be Sam Nunn of Georgia, from the district I was born and raised in. Whoever that chairman is generally one of the most powerful men in Washington. And I can't remember the chairman's name at that time myself, but he said, this was in the year 2000, I believe, that in the next 10 years, possibly due to nuclear strikes, tens of millions of people could lose their lives. Now, what we've just seen is one United States city outside, this is Atlanta, it has a metropolitan population area of roughly 4 million people. So this is one field outside of one U.S. city, and the brother of the man that owns this field, that the government is leasing this field from to store these disposable coffins. This brother was given 3 years to set up temporary morgues around the country. Now, we found the website that we think these disposable coffins were made at, and we noticed that the lids that they're advertising on the website were rounded. But the lids, hundreds of thousands of lids there, the lids we found, folks, were flat, and they were reinforced. You know what that could mean? You can stack them on top of each other. That's a lot neater to stack them in disposable coffins than what we saw after the tsunami, when we would see bulldozers digging holes and taking bodies and pushing bodies into holes. America can stomach this much better.
Yeah, in 1996, and I won't go into detail about this, when I saw the Trade Center shrouded in black with 5 gray tornadoes coming off of it. Our partners heard me to preach this in 1999. And when the Trade Center attack happened, I knew that's what that was. I had an incident, I talked about this publicly, off the coast of Louisiana. There would be an oil rig. Something happened to an oil rig that would cause the economy to really have havoc there. And I even called a pastor in Louisiana and told him when the BP oil spill happened, it was a fulfillment of the 5 things I saw. The most recent one said, however, it deals with tsunamis. I probably once every 2 weeks, I have a dream of a tsunami. And the
once every 2 weeks.
Oh,
I don't want that to slip by.
It's getting, I don't mean this in a negative, it's getting ridiculous almost to the number of times it happens. And my wife keeps saying, why are you keep having these? I said, honey, the only thing I can figure is the Lord's given us a warning. The odd thing is, one appeared to have been on the West Coast, and the other was very strong on the East Coast, which I thought was a little odd. But let me just tell you where I was, and I'm not going to name the city. I'm going to ask people never to contact me and ask me. I will only release it if the Holy Spirit tells me, because it creates fear in people, and we shouldn't do that. However, we were near water in this vision, and my wife and I and my family were together, and it was a 2-story duplex. It's almost like we were staying in the area. And I saw the city. It's a very beautiful city. And the dark clouds were forming above it, and I knew a storm was coming. A storm can be spiritual, it can be natural. And when I turned, I remember telling my wife, and I'm reducing parts of this to get to the point, something big is about to happen. We've got to get everybody into safety. Something big is about to happen. And I went over to the top story now. I'm on the 2nd floor. I looked through this glass window, huge, beautiful glass window, and you could see 2 things. You could see a very beautiful bridge, and you could see water. And all of a sudden, 3 things happened at once. The first thing is I saw, you've seen the big interstate signs that tell you what city you're going to.
Of course.
This one named a city that I'll leave out. But this bridge connects to that city, because I checked it out the next day on a map of this type of bridge. And I saw a tsunami wave hit. I don't want to estimate. It could have been 50 to 70 feet high. It was the biggest thing I've ever seen. And when it came in, then I saw the bridge buckle and the bridge collapse.
Dad, I'm really, really scared. California dreaming, no.
Now, it almost looked to me as though there was an explosion at the base of the bridge, and I couldn't figure if the tsunami was caused by some kind of sea explosion and the bridge was separate. But here's what I did see that shocked me. I saw, the only way for me to describe this is to say it was the Twin Towers coming up out of the water in a ghostly look, real ghostly, not a hologram, but it was just like a ghost. This is the only way I can describe it. And they came up out of the water and disappeared into the atmosphere, and this wave came in and was hitting the 1st and 2nd levels of these buildings.